Yeah, it's your boy Ashley Knuckles out here at my son's late baseball game. It's about what? Well, it's late. You know what I'm saying? On a school night at that. I think it's about 7:30 out here in the South. Check out this setup, man. Anyway, now's a good time to talk about future Hall of Famer Bernard Hopkins. He has a big fight coming up. Um, I don't know. I think the guy may be. I don't know if the guy is American or if he's Russian. He's like Joe Unknownovich. But anyway, I've been picking against Bernard Hopkins for the better part of the last decade. Um, I'm not a firm believer that guys who hang around too long have the best chance to win in a young man's sport. Um, the Bernard Hopkins of old is the real executioner. Um, what can I say about him? He was a cagey veteran, hungry, didn't have the lights out amateur career. Life got pushed back a little bit because he had the um, unfortunate situation of having to do that bid in prison to come out and become a middleweight champion, adding to the rich middleweight history of Philadelphia. And when you look at Bernard Hopkins, there was never really one skill that stuck out. Like, you know how Triple G has tremendous power, Kovalev has tremendous power. Um, you got Pacquiao with the cold speed. You know, Bernard Hopkins was one of those guys who just happened to do everything well. Um, and that's what made him so dominant. And he was very disciplined as a fighter, being a big guy, never getting within 10 pounds away from his fight weight when he wasn't fighting. Had a very, very strict diet and training regimen. And in the ring, you know, there was the testament to his brilliance with his hands. He outboxed the punchers, outpunched the boxers. And if you weren't a puncher or a boxer, you just got your fucking ass whooped. And, you know, his career got derailed once by being outpointed by Roy Jones, but he didn't quit. He didn't give up. He continued to fight the guys that were placed in front of him. It's not like he had high profile promoters that's just promote him to the public. They were getting them fights and he was disposing of the guys that were placed in front of him until he got his opportunity to fight big name guys. And at the end of the day, he did what he was supposed to do, execute. Execute the game plan and execute his opponents. But the last real execution was a mix between the Tarver fights, the Kelly Pavlik fights, and the William Joppy fights. Every fight pretty much after that, it's not like he was executing those guys. Um, he was just outpointing them, surviving by all the intelligence that he has, all the experience that he has, and of course the ring savvy. I mean, he wasn't doing what he used to do to these guys, which is smother them, take away everything that they try to do in the ring. He basically wouldn't let you outbox him because as you move laterally, he moved with you all while punching. And he had one glaring skill that probably isn't the most appealing to the eye, and that's a lights out inside game. And if you didn't have an inside game, you got your ass destroyed. But now, I mean, for the last 5, 6 years, something like that, maybe 10 years or whatever, he's been an old man beating these guys, outpointing them, throwing one punch at a time, D'ing up, being very cagey, very slippery, hard to hit. But over time, all those skills erode, and the only thing that's left usually is the power, and that's not one thing that he has a whole lot of. But even at this current juncture, it's not like he's the most slipperiest guy anymore anyway, because he's actually getting touched in the fight. And for the first time ever, we saw him against Kovalev, and Kovalev beat the brakes off his ass in a fight where I've never seen Bernard Hopkins so easily handled. And it may be a mixture because Kovalev is a beast. He's a giant in that ring, you know, a superstar, budding superstar on the horizon. But you can also couple that with the fact that, you know, Bernard Hopkins is an old man in a young man's game. And at some point, all the old guys, whether you're a KG veteran or not, you're gonna have your Joey Archer moment when you realize you're out of your element and you need to pass the torch. And I pretty much think that's what's gonna happen at this juncture in this particular fight. Um, he's gonna be fighting a young man, younger man than he, and if this guy's hungry enough and well trained enough and he wanted bad enough on that night, he will emerge victorious. And I'm gonna call it right now, man. I think this may be the fight where he gets retired in the ring. You know, Bernard Hopkins can prove me wrong like he's been proving me wrong for the last 10 damn years, man, and go out there and beat the brakes off this guy. But I'm gonna go with Jose or Joe Unknownovich, whatever his name is, Joe Smith, to pull off the upset and send this future Hall of Famer into retirement. It may not be the popular prediction, but you know, I remember interviewing Bernard Hopkins, I think right when Juan fought Paul Malignaggi. That was the first time I ever met Bernard Hopkins, and that motherfucker was looking old right then and there, and that was a long time ago. And I can't, like I said, I can't believe this guy is still at it. He's not necessarily at the top of his game, as you can see. He says this is going to be the last one, but he said that shit a decade ago. Knowing that dude, if he go in there and put on a lights out performance, that motherfucker gonna keep on fighting unless the networks tell him, look, we're not putting you on TV anymore. But let's see what you guys have to say about it. I'm going with Joe Unknownovich to put the old man out of his misery. All right, later.